powered by Play Alberta. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. And for a limited time only, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code GYB50. That's how Alberta wins. All right, Oilers fans, let's do this. Welcome to the big show tonight, November 8th. The Oilers take one off the chin, both cheeks, the forehead, and the back of the head as they lose 9-1 to the mighty Colorado Avalanche. We've got a great show planned for you today. And the show is brought to you by our good buddies at Timberhouse Developments, the leader in custom and infill development with the knowledge and experience to bring your dreams to life. If you're tired of cookie cutter, copy and paste designs with no soul, see the team at Timberhouse and discover how naturally inspired living can make your life better. Take all the guesswork out of your infill project and work with experienced leaders. Visit timberhouse.ca. Today I'm in my mobile studio. I am in Parts Unknown, brought to you by our buddies at Timberhouse, and they're making beautiful, beautiful works at our studio. So got the boys tonight. No Schauger tonight. Schauger is out. He is got some stuff going on. So it'll be myself. There'll be Zoobs. He'll be in my co-pilot chair. Keep your hands on the wheel, Zooby. We've got Steve, Scuba Steve with us. He's actually manning the controls of the entire operation. And then Rob Brown will be joining us probably in 30, 40 minutes time to give us his insight. Boys, obviously the dream team's together here, but it wasn't the dream outcome for the Edmonton Oilers. A Saturday night, both teams hadn't played in a while. The Oilers were going to come out fast and play well. They started off bad, but boys, 9-1 beatings. That is an absolute thrashing, Zoobs.
It's the dream team of handsomeness here on the show, but that was an absolute nightmare out on the ice tonight. And started okay, and then once it went off the rails, it went way off. That was a beatdown.
Steve, you were off the team for the same years as I, and we took some thrashings, absolute thrashings. There was times I just wanted the game to end. I'm like, someone pull the fire escape. Like, this is an absolute disaster. And no matter everything you do, you go left, you're supposed to go right. Yeah, you're trying to forecheck, you take a penalty, you go to glove with your glove, it goes in 5-hole on the goaltender. Like, this was just one of those nights that it didn't matter what the Oilers did, and they did a lot wrong. It was going to go sideways.
Yeah, it just felt like that from the beginning. It's funny, my son's in a hockey tournament right now, but just outside of Kelowna, so I get to sleep at home, and I was driving home from his game. They had a big win, all excited, and then I'm listening to the Oilers game, and my friends are texting, and they're like, oh, everyone looks hot. McDavid, he's ready for this one tonight. This is a good game. This is exciting. And then then it was 1-0, and then I got home, and I brought in a couple things from the car, went in and turned on the TV. It's 3-1. Okay, and then boom, 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 boom. Just that kind of night for sure. It did feel like back in the day with some of those thrashings you guys unfortunately took.
It was tough. That was a really tough night. So we want to hear from you. We've got a good stream already. We'll get everybody in your comments later on Ask Us Anything. But right now, Zuby, let's get to it. Let's get to breaking this bad boy down. 9-1 loss to the Avalanche tonight at home on a Saturday night by the Oilers.
Ouch. The breakdown is brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. Hockey lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. During every Oilers game day at any Edmonton and area location, enter to win Oilers home game tickets at Rogers Place. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian Coors Light tankards. You know I will. 30-plus beers on tap, 50-plus TVs at all locations. It is the place to watch hockey. And the good thing tonight is if you were there were plenty of other games you could have been watching as well. So get out to the Brewhouse for the next one.
Okay, before we get going, it should be noted, and I'm just going to throw this massive matzo ball right into the middle of the room and blow it up. The Oilers last played on, Tuesday, I believe. And then they spent the night and overnight, and then they stayed the night in Dallas the next night and came home Thursday. I'm guessing this was due to their rookie party. Now, rookie parties are a ritual that I love. They're so much fun. If you don't know what they are, they're rookies. They pay for a dinner and a night out for the boys. It's an important part of bonding, making you feel you belong. And I can tell you as a rookie, you're not happy to pay out the money, but you're happy to be a part of this ritual. And it's a big thing. The challenge is that it can be a pretty fun night out. And what I mean by that, you can have a really good time, and you always want to make sure you show up just and go balls out the next game, because the coach gave you the green light to have this night out. He knows what's going on. Everyone in the world knows what's going on. And they started out okay, Zuby, but when you look at the entirety of the game, I feel like this was a hell of a night out they had, even though it would have been Wednesday. It does take a couple nights to get over this, but you do owe it to your coach to battle for him. And tonight they just didn't have it. I'm not saying that's a reason that it happened, but I have been part of games after a rookie party where it contributed to a loss. I don't remember being any time this bad. Again, I'm not saying this is a reason, but it couldn't have helped when you look at that 9-1 loss.
Holy cow. If that's true, if that plays in at all, that's really something. I believe it was last year. I think the Oilers had the Penguins come in right after their rookie party and they spanked them. And we talked about it, and they had a bit of a break too. I think they might've had 2 nights and had played Calgary. It wasn't as quick of a turnaround, but, boy, that would really be something. I thought the start was kind of not too bad, Struddy. I felt like I was watching some of the other games. I watched a little bit of Montreal and Utah tonight, and I thought, wow, this is exciting. I watched a bit of a Vancouver game a couple weeks ago, and I thought, boy, this is exciting. And then I started thinking about the Oiler games, and like, even though they've been in them, it hasn't been that exciting. It hasn't been fire wagon hockey. And I felt like in the first 5-10 minutes, we were actually kind of getting that. I feel like Jack Michaels hasn't had to say pulsating very often yet this year. Maybe just once in the last overtime. But so I liked the start. I thought the start was encouraging, and McDavid was flying.
McDavid was fine. And there was okay to start. But then Cale Makar said, okay, hold on, I got to get busy. So deeper into the first period, Cale Makar finds himself not too far from the blue line. He gets the pass from his buddy Devon Toews. He steps in a couple and wires one from the left side of the netminder above the top of the circles and just wires it far side post and in. Absolute rocket. Savable puck, yes or no, Zuby?
Not really, for the way Natchez had the screen too, kind of like the Z-axis screen coming towards him and then just peeled off. He's trying to look around that. That's a perfect shot outside the blocker, inside the post. I'll give Stu that one for sure.
See, I think I'm going to give Stu that one as well, just because it's who it is shooting the puck. That guy can score goals, and he was skating downhill. That means he was making his way from the blue line closer to the net. So we'll give Stu that one.
Yes.
The second goal, it is an odd face-off. So what they did is that usually the left D-man lines up against the wall when it's to the right of the netminder, and then the right D-man's inside. Well, they changed this up. Nate McKinnon's taking the face-off. So what they do is they put the left D-man in line with the net, and then the right D-man, in this case Makar, is over. So Nate McKinnon wins the puck back to Devon Toews, who passes over to a wide-open Cale Makar, arguably the second most dangerous shooter on the ice. Podkolzin goes to the wrong player. Podkolzin goes straight up, and he tries to go at Devon Toews. The puck goes from Toews over to a wide open Makar, who really shoots it from the same area and beats Stu Stinner again on that. So in my opinion, this one is more of a issue with defensive zone responsibilities. Because when you look up as a winger, you have to think, okay, what if we lose this? Well, first off, what are they trying to do here? And then what are my responsibilities if they do that? Now, the flip side is the center can't lose a draw. Can't lose it that clean. And it goes. So there's a lot of layers. I know, Stu's got to stop it. Stu's got to stop. I understand what you're saying. But there's got to be some awareness defensively. And they don't have it. And this is, again, arguably one of the second most dangerous players on the ice for the Avs. Walking in, hammer time. Thank you. 2 goals in like a minute 10 or something.
Cale Makar wearing his invisibility cloak tonight, as nobody cared to mark him on that one. Is Podkolzin, do you think, I certainly noticed that too, do you think he's doing, as they draw it up, what he's supposed to do? You go right to that guy if he gets the puck, or should it just be the awareness, this guy's the more dangerous shooter?
Well, he's playing, I believe he's left wing on that line. And then, or is he right wing? No, I think he's left wing on that line.
I
So
think
his
so.
job would to be go up, and he's taking the right D. And so whatever you're told in the moment, you have to read and react on what you see. So again, as you're standing there as the left winger, you're looking up and say, okay, well, my right D is really far away, and I'd rather him not shoot. I'd rather Devontae shoot. But
Yes.
he clearly goes right at Tays. And it's right from there. That's the mistake on that one. So lost the face-off, clean face-off win. You have to know when Nate McKinnon's lining up his D-man like that, what he's trying to do. You got to neutralize him. Just stop it. Then the misread, and then the goal against. So 1, 2, 3, I would have the goal against the lowest of the shot, the non-save, I should say, the lowest of the 3 issues on that one, Zuby. Okay, so we'll
I would agree, but it is a savable puck, and obviously coming from a great shooter. That one goes under the arm. That's the 7 hole, I believe, just under, just inside. So he's probably not going to love that one. It's certainly more savable than the first.
Yeah, so you'd like a save in one of those first 2. Like, let's be honest, one of the first 2, just to give you a chance to stay in this one. But again, who are you playing against? And the top line was having a tough night against the Avs top line tonight for sure. Then they get a goal waved off. Gabe Landeskog, who hasn't scored in regular season since his return, which is an amazing story that he came back. That gets waved off by offside. They get a break. Okay, deep breath. Let's move on to the second period from the Edmonton Oilers. You're only down 2-0. You got a chance here to get yourself kind of going. And then early in the second period, noted scorer Gavin Brindley gets a goal. In this one, it goes up to the point. It's shot from the point. And both defensemen are well above Gavin Brindley, who finds himself in front. A bit of a rebound, no doubt, but finds himself in front by himself on a rebound. It's like a practice forehand back or backhand forehand goal. Thank you very much. Gavin Brindley makes it 3-0 off of a miscue by the older D being too far up and not recognizing there was someone behind them.
I didn't check the exact number, but that also felt like a long shift for Nurse, tail end of a shift. He started out there on that shift with Regula and ended up with Kulak. So his partner changed, and I don't know exactly if he was supposed to stay or not, but he looked, I had that he looked like he might have had a chance to attack it at the boards, and then certainly had that guy get way deeper than him, and no real chance for Skinner on that one either. Not a that's a tough. You can argue about the rebound, but that's a tough one to track. It's kind of a bouncer coming in through a screen.
Yeah, it's so again. Is it on Stu Skinner? I guess you could debate it, but there's a lot of things that happen prior to it that lead to the chance. So now we're at 3 goals. If you don't count the wave off one, we could be at 4 that are questionable prior to arriving to Stu Skinner on his doorstep. So that's the third goal. Then we'll go to the fourth goal. This isn't too far after, I guess just over 2 minutes later. Jack Drury, again, noted goal scorer, is cruising through the slot. It goes up, then over from the left D to the right D, who's Brent Burns. Brent Burns, to me, is the best shooting for a tip player in the NHL. When he was the San Jose Sharks, he to Pavelski. Burns was the best shooting for tips. Pavelski was the best at tipping. And they were beautiful to watch the two of them do it. So now he gets it, and he puts it right on the tape. Like, couldn't have made a better shot pass to Jack Drury, who's cruising through 4 Edmonton Oilers. They were like in a box. He cruises right through the middle of them. No one picks him up. No one marks him. No one gets a stick on the pass. Long tip. Goal. Fourth goal. Again, is that one on Stu Skinner? I guess if you want to not say that anyone has to mark a player skating through the box when there's no one else around you. It wasn't a power play either, I should say.
Yeah.
But they're skating through the box again. No urgency. And I think more than anything, the first 4 goals, I'm going to use the word awareness. And you could use them for all the goals, but those first 4 goals, the one I want to cover, just awareness. Zero awareness by the Oilers defensively.
Well, you apparently had the Brent Burns slap pass scouted, Struddy, but they certainly didn't look like they had it scouted out there, because they were all, I wrote down on that one, Shager asked me to I took notes. This was very exciting for me tonight to be in the game and take notes. Good. I wrote, they're playing chess. They're playing chess, and the Oilers are playing checkers at this point in time. None of them had that play. They were all expecting the shot, and they didn't have Drury and they didn't have the lane on the slap pass. So that they were playing chess there.
Yeah, so 9 goals total, and you nailed it with that commentary. So just defensive awareness. I don't want to go through all 9. There's one more I want to get to. The Oilers, they get it to a decent amount, 5-1, I believe it was. Connor McDavid scores on a power play. I didn't like that goal that Mackenzie Blackwood let in. And then the Oilers get a power play. Okay, maybe we got something going here towards the end of the second period, like 5-6 minutes to go in the second period. They win the face-off. It goes to Nuge, and Nuge passes a slower pass back to Bush and handcuffs him. Parker Kelly chips it by Bush, goes in on breakaway. No one was catching him. He could have skated on the North Saskatchewan River all the way to Saskatchewan. He wasn't catching him. He makes a nice move, and now Skinner's out. We got the big pick in there, and he gets beat, and it's game over. So 4 goals. Then the power play one or the shorthanded one, let's make it 6, and the game's over. You just fire up the car. Let's get out of here. This thing's over. So I didn't like that goal, and I'm Nuge is wearing that one. Should be noted. Right after that, they still had the power play. Nuge came off. They put 2 D-men on the power play. Message sent, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to, the stream's very active. I'm trying to follow along a little bit too. I don't know if many people are putting that one at Bush's feet, but I didn't think so. He's handcuffed. That pass it's a pass. It's almost going to get to him. And that guy makes an incredible play to poke it off the boards. And then, like you said, so far gone on the breakaway. And I felt bad for picks on this one because you don't see a goalie, especially, I mean, Calvin Pickard's a very, he's not a top tier maybe NHL goaltender, but you don't see him look bad very often. And he got turned inside out by that kid. He thought the shot was coming. He really believed that guy was shooting middle blocker, and a couple of, if you watch the replay, a couple of little head fakes, and he bought, and really good finish by that kid. That was a beautiful goal, and yeah, for sure the nail in the coffin at that point.
So, I mean, yeah, it should be noted the Avs bottom 6 was really good. The top 6 was good. McKinnon finished with 2 goals, 2 assists, but the bottom 6 for the Avs was really good. Let's get into the digital soundbox though right now, Zuby, and we'll hear from the boys and the coach right from inside the dressing room.
Okay, the digital soundbox is brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Should you need a new train furnace, air conditioner, heat pump, hot water tank, or garage heater, Weiss Johnson is now offering 24 months, no interest, equal payments OAC to make your purchase easier heading into the Christmas season. Their family helping your family for nearly 50 years. Visit wjjingle.com for exclusive specials just for Got Your Back Jingle lovers. Hit it, Steve.
Weiss Johnson,
We could play that all night. It's not going to make the Oilers feel any better, or our fans, the fans of the pod and the Oilers. Okay, let's just go right to Chris Knobloch. Let's hear what he had to say about the game in general.
So everyone's frustrated. Everyone enjoys hockey, coming to the rink when things are going well and you're winning games. And when you're underperforming and not playing well and losing, it's a drag. It's a grind. I'd like to say let's make this fun, but we got to find a way to win some hockey games, play good hockey. Then we can start having fun. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
Sorry, I jumped in. I thought he was done. Yeah, so that's Chris Knobloch. Obviously, that's courtesy of Oilers Plus TV. If you want to check it out, they've got great features and insight. So yeah, no one's having fun right now. And you can tell by the coach, he's not loving what's happening right now. He looks frustrated. His answer's a little bit, he's taking a pause before answering because he wants to get it right. Zuby, I want to hear from Jake Wallman. Jake Wallman was asked whether this is an individual or a group/team issue.
We in the end, we know what we have, but we got to do it. That's the biggest thing, and it's to a man. Starts with me. I'll hold myself accountable, but I got to be better. Everybody's got to be better, and to a man, we got to figure out what that looks like now.
Zuby, thoughts?
Sorry, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of lag here in intermittently. So, what did you just ask me something, or you
Yeah.
just asking me for thoughts on Wallman?
What are your thoughts on Wallman, and do you think it's individual or group?
Um, Boy, I mean, that's hard to say. My thoughts on Wallman is he certainly stood out as being poor tonight. He you want to kind of give a guy like that, I guess, the benefit of the doubt. He's pinching to try to create something, but bigger picture, they were bad decisions, and it showed. He was -3, not the lowest minus. There were some -4s on the team, but really tough night for him. You know what? In previous games, Struddy, it felt like the one big individual mistake was sticking out. Tonight, it felt like the team. Tonight, it felt like, other than Connor, who I thought kept his wheels going all game, tonight it felt like the wheels fell off everybody else.
Yeah, and I listen, Jake Wallman, he was trying to be physical. He's just a half step behind. He takes the penalty later in the game. It was a trip. He tripped him, and he was trying to tell us it was a dive. I'm sorry. To me, it was a trip. It's a pretty easy call. And whether you agree with the call or not, when you put your stick where it you're opening up the option for the ref to make the call. Was it group or individual? I think it's both. It can be both. Individual players have to play better, so collectively the group can be better. So we can beat up the idea of the Oilers' overall defensive play, but each individual player within it has to be better, have to be tighter, have to keep closer gaps, have to be more engaged, all those things. So you can't say it's right now. I can't say it's one or the other, because it is both. It's both. There have been games where it's been individual, where there were specific players who were struggling. They were costing the Oilers wins. Right now, and tonight, I should say, it was the group and individuals in the group. So, and the collection, all of them, in fact, in that moment. So, yeah, it's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough time. We'll get to some more of the inbox a little bit later. But right now, let's get to our YouTube poll, Zub.
Oh, yes. The YouTube poll is brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Get fit now. Before you get out your shovels and ice chippers, get fitted while you still have your summer swing. Their TrackMan bays are ready and the deals are hot. Go down and check out their pro shop style atmosphere located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Steve-O, where are we going tonight with this?
Okay, so the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. We're asking viewers what they think will spark this team. So the question, what is it going to take to spark this team? The 4 answers: a star player to get scratched, Zach Hyman's return, someone starts a fight, or the GM makes a trade. What do you think, Struddy?
I think Hyman coming back will be huge. I think Hyman and Janmark make a big difference. There's a lot of unsettledness in this lineup right now. Hyman comes back, it pushes either Nuge or Mangiapane down. Janmark comes back, it pushes someone out of that bottom line. Just someone they can trust, and they can just weather some moments. So that's, you think about it, that's 2 out of 12 forwards that'll be coming out, getting pushed out. And we're talking about people at the top of the lineup in the case of Hyman, not the bottom. So I think that's, for me, the answer, Zoops. I don't want to influence the outcome, but I think that was pretty clear.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think so too. I also think, did we can get to this later, but did we get the sound from Trent Frederick talking about why if he were on the other team, he wouldn't fight himself. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I wouldn't fight me either. We're going to get to, okay. I might say somebody starts a fight, and I'd kind of hinge it to that really interesting comments from Trent Frederick. Whenever we get to that, we can bring that back around. But I thought that was, maybe it's a fight. Last year there was that stat. I don't remember. It was not like official, but the Oilers won like 8 of their first 9 wins that they had. There was a fight in each game. And of course it was Corey Perry a number of times, but that seemed to spark them a number of times last year.
What do you think, Steve-O?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Hyman's return is going to bring a lot of intangibles with it. I think he's amazing in the dressing room. I think he's a great leader on the ice, obviously, and in the way that he plays, the things that he says, and his attitude. So, and again, just how that will shuffle the lineup. I think it's gonna do a lot. So I'm very excited about Hyman's return, and I'm hoping that's the spark the team needs.
Now, this is a really good poll. We want everyone on the stream to chime in, or you can go to our YouTube to log in there. I'm going to get to the hashtag someone start a fight in our takeaways, because I do feel it's really need to be talked about. And I don't think it's just the fighting. I think it's emotion as well. So when you get to the takeaways, we'll get into that, because it is important. As far as Jim making a trade, I think I want to see what it looks like with Hyman and Janmark in this lineup prior to making that trade. Your A lineup, because they haven't had their A lineup yet. And then a star player getting scratched. We saw Jordan Kyrou getting scratched in St. Louis. Again, I want to see the A lineup before I go to that. So all great options, but please go over to YouTube, get in our poll, and give it an answer. Right now, there's a fairly significant group of the people are looking to change, and I'm not surprised. I can't blame them, boys. Okay, Zuby compiles a great little opportunity for us in our storyline. So let's get to storylines now. Brought to you by Play Alberta, Zoobs.
With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, you can score a $50 free bet when you make a minimum $50 deposit with code GYB50. That's code GYB50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today and find out if you're Alberta's next winner. And the storyline bet today, it's kind of interesting that we did almost hit on it, because of course the game was a complete wash. What I was looking at was that the Oilers coming into this game, second best power play in the league, Colorado second best penalty kill. So it looked like that was going to be strength on strength. And also the Avs also average more than 8 minutes in penalties a game. So it looked like there was going to be great opportunity there. So we went with the Connor McDavid anytime goal, as he does have. I had researched, he actually has more goals against the Avs than Leon Draisaitl does. So kind of a little bit of an aberration there. So we went with a Connor McDavid anytime goal, which we got, and a Evan Bouchard power play point, which we did not, unfortunately. So we gave that a shot there. And that was what did you think, Struddy, from that matchup, power play on PK? Because it was involved in the outcome of the game, still in the early going in the first period. What did you think of that matchup? What did the Avs do on the penalty kill that slowed the Oilers down?
It's a really good point, because early on, this was a well-researched out storyline he came up with today. Early on, there was a lot of power plays. And at the end of the day, the Oilers killed off all 7 for the Avs. The Avs power play hasn't been as dynamic as maybe you expect. But that's a pretty good day for the PK, a positive, if you have a silver lining, as my grandma used to say. And then the Oilers power play, they were 1 for 5. So they, 20% isn't awful. But you got to credit the Avs. I thought they were slightly disruptive of what the Oilers were trying to do, but I didn't think the Oilers were completely in sync. Again, when they're at their best, everything's on the tape to tape, moving puck quick, and it wasn't quite in sync today. And then you give up the shorthanded goal. That really is a real nutcracker. So Brownie join us a little bit later. We can ask him about it, but every game day, take a look for that. Zuby researched out, and they were close. They were close. They could have got her done. Okay.
If that goal, the Connor goal, was a power play goal. So what was funny is I caught it. I had to wind it back, because I thought if Bush had touched it, we could have got it. We actually could have hit the storyline bet on the only goal that they got. We came that close to it, but it was just Connor from Leon,
which would have been great. Okay. Before we take a quick pause here, let's get to Relentless player. And I already know I'm going to take heat for this one, but I don't care. And it is brought to you by the UCAN Youth Services, Zuby.
Yeah, an Edmonton charity, Relentless, about helping 16 to 24-year-olds step out of harm's way and into meaningful work. You make that change today, right here at home. Visit ucan.ca. Struddy, you gave me a hint on this, and I like it. But where are you going to? Maybe you're going to ruffle some feathers. Go ahead.
Oh, they're ruffled. They will be ruffled. I'm going with a player on the Avs who I thought made an elite defensive play against an elite player. Leon Draisaitl had a break with the puck, and Brent Burns, 40-year-old man with a sick beard, chased him down and was able to knock the puck off his stick kind of by diving.
Yeah.
And I don't recall seeing anyone chase Leon down and doing that to him. He's really good at shielding the puck. How many times have we seen him just hold that guy off,
Yeah.
kind of keep his feet moving, then able to create a shot, maybe draw a penalty or make a play to someone else? That is many, many, many times we've seen that happen. Well, tonight it was a little bit different. Brent Burns made an elite defensive play. He was relentless in his pursuit of Leon, and he was rewarded by just a really, really good defensive play there, buddy.
He certainly was. And I don't remember what the score was at the time. I think it was they already had a sizable lead. But what does a play like that do to the bench too? Like that must get those guys fired up.
Well, it's against Leon Draisaitl. If that's against, whatever, Jason Strudwick, no one's cheering like you're supposed to do that. But that was an elite play against an elite player. To me, that's as good as a block shot. That's as good as a great pass to score a goal. It's just something that the guys really love seeing. And it's infectious. Like playing that way at that age. And he's on a cheap deal here with the Avs. So really, really like that play. And for that reason, he is our relentless player. Excellent. Okay, so the Oilers lose 9-1. Sorry, you have something, Zoop?
No, I just said, well done. I agree. I'm on board.
Yeah, really, really, really tough night for the Edmonton Oilers. 9-1. Drops them to basically 500 for the year. The Avs look really good. Came into the Oilers' house and literally just did whatever they wanted, right? Put their feet up on the counters and ate chips in bed. So let's take a pause. Everyone take a deep breath. When we come back, we'll be joined by Rob Brown, along with Zuby, myself, and Steve. We'll be right back for Takeaways with Rob Brown. Stay with us, everyone.
Mainline Water and Sewer specializes in sewer line repair and replacement using advanced trenchless methods for fast, clean results. They provide detailed sewer assessments and scoping to identify problems before they become costly. Serving both residential and commercial properties, no job is too big or too small, and with over 40 years of experience, they've seen it all. Trust Mainline to keep your lines flowing smoothly.
Welcome back, Oilers fans, to a big show on Saturday night. Unfortunately, the Oilers don't have the best evening, but it's time now for Takeaways.
Takeaways are brought to you by Chandos Construction. Chandos doesn't hire talent, they invest in it. They're 100% employee owned, so when their people grow, the whole company grows. Ready to build something that matters? Apply now at chandos.com/apply.
All right, we got Sir Roberto Brown on the line. Brownie, are you there, you old dog?
I'm here. How are you guys doing?
Oh, buddy, we're working through one. You were there watching the game from your cubby hole. Defensively, to me, it's the story of the night for the Oilers. Just lapses, and we went over the first 4 goals, and then the 6th goal, which was a shorthanded goal against. What did you see defensively from the Oilers tonight?
I think what we saw tonight was what we've seen in a lot of games this year. Big mistakes, poor communication, misreads. Like the first 2 goals, just total misreads. And they left the best defenseman in the world wide open, back-to-back, almost identical. The problem for the Oilers tonight is they ran into an elite hockey club. They could survive it against St. Louis or survive it against Seattle. But when you play the best and you're as leaking defensive chances as bad as the Oilers have, you're going to pay the price. So to me, I think this was just a carry-on of what we've seen almost all year long. Starts when the Oilers were at their best, when they won 17 in a row, when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back years. They were a solid defensive team. They didn't give up a lot of chances against. They played with tenacity. They played with a hunger. Right now, they are a team that plays with very little emotion, very little intensity, and it's almost as though at the beginning of the season, they gave them a whole brand new defensive system, and none of the players have read the book yet because they are making big mistake after big mistake each and every game.
Yeah, I love how you break that up or bring that up. So, there was a lot of questions asked post game to the members of the team that are available and the coach. Is this individual or is this group? And let's just stay on the defensive side of the puck. I mean, I made the point earlier. Individually, they can be all better defensively, but as a group, also they got to interact with each other and play off each other and read what the other guy is doing. And right now, you look at the third goal. I mean, you have two D-men well above the third guy who gets stuck behind them and just has an easy rebound goal against. Like, it's just, to me, it's all the above when asked whether it's individual or group. What are you seeing from this defensive lapses they're creating?
Well, you're absolutely right, Struds. Like, look at the first goal that Makar scores. He's the best player on the ice. There's no forward covering him. That's miscommunication.
Yeah.
There's like 3 forwards on the other side. Miscommunication. The second goal, the face-off play. That is as simple a face-off play as there is. As a forward, as a winger, the inside winger goes to the defenseman the puck is going to. The other winger stands in the slot, and if the puck gets passed from one D to another, that's where you go. And Makar, again, there was no winger, walked all the way in on the zone. That is a miscommunication again. And so it's the one that Wallman, the pinch on the seventh goal that gave McKinnon the 2-on-1 breakaway, that's an individual problem. That's a pinch you cannot do. You've got to read that there's two guys behind you. You can't pinch there. That's individual. But the other ones were a lack of communication. Guys not knowing where they're supposed to go. That's team. So I think it's a combination of both. Individual mistakes and team mistakes. And that combination does not usually work out in the positive. That usually works out in a 9-1 drubbing.
Yeah, it was something to watch when you see this all come together. The goalies, obviously a story, not a ton of shots, a lot of quality chances. You can go individually if you like or collectively. The goalies' performance tonight, what did you see from these two guys?
They weren't good enough, but they also, I mean, Skinner, he made 5 big saves before he got pulled. Like, he stopped the break. They just fell behind 2-0. They give up a breakaway. And I know, you want to save from your goalie, but this was a game that should have been 12-1 or 13-1. Like, they scored 9 goals. They had one that was disallowed on an offside. That was barely offside, but it was. And the Colorado was 0 for 7 on their power play. The goalies weren't good enough, but the goalies weren't the biggest problem in this game. I don't care if you would have flip-flopped goalies in this game and the teams played the same way. The Avalanche, maybe they win the game 5-1 or 6-1, but they're still winning this game badly because this Oiler team, that was as worst a defensive effort as I've seen in probably 10 years. Like, they were bad defensively. So goalies, not good enough, but that was just part of a much bigger problem.
Struddy, can I offer my goalie fan theory here just on this part? This is just, and you guys can crap on this if you want, but when the third goal, the Landeskog goal, was overturned, I didn't think that, I mean, that's a great shot, but I think that's a savable shot by Skinner. In my mind, I thought, you're getting that goal back, pull him anyway. Get him out now. He doesn't look, he looks okay, but he doesn't look super sharp. You're getting this goal back, and maybe there's a chance to do something else to spark the team at this point. Is that nonsense? You guys can tell me if it is. Struddy.
Yeah, you're looking to shake it up. I mean, the team didn't start badly, but then it started kind of getting away from those 2 Makar goals. And then, they kind of made it through the first period. Like, okay, take a deep breath and let's see what happens. And then bang, it kind of comes again. So I suppose you could have changed him at that time, but it was only 2-0. It wasn't 3 or 4 or 5-0. I thought if that one went in for the third, I thought they might pull him there. Instead, it was reversed. So I think it gives them benefit of doubt, Brownie, in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pull him there. And then, I mean, he makes a couple big saves after that because they got another breakaway. He saved the breakaway. And then to start the second period, like the first shift, Bouchard, he's beside his guy. The guy switches sides on him, and Bouchard doesn't just leaves him. And Skinner makes an unbelievable save on a 2-on-1. And then the Colorado Avalanche got a couple power plays, and Skinner made big save after big save. So, I don't. To me, pulling the goalie is just allowing the other players on the ice, forgiving them for how bad they were playing. To me, I mean, this was, if you're going to, in the grand scheme of players who played poorly tonight, Stuart Skinner would be much further down my list. There'd be probably about 8 to 10 other players ahead of him. Now, Skinner wasn't good, and neither was Calvin Pickard, but there were other players that were worse. It just, to me, if you pull Skinner after the second goal or the third one that was disallowed, if you pull him then, you're allowing the other players off the hook for the way they were playing. They didn't bench anyone in this hockey game. So I don't think for Skinner to get pulled was unfair to him, with the fact that there was a lot of other players that should have been taken out of this hockey game before him.
Yeah, so I'm going to give Quinn the last word here, guys. Quinn on the stream says, I hope the Edmonton fans who are dying for a new goalie get their wish and nothing changes. Their team will still stink defensively and Skinner finds success elsewhere. He's been the ultimate scapegoat. So bold statement by Quinn. We got a great stream today. If you're on there, give us a thumbs up. Get your Ask Us Anything questions in for a little bit later. All right, everyone's talking about it, about the physicality that is lacking in the game. So let's go to who had it today. It was Frederick. Trent Frederick was asked about being physical and needing to fight. Hit it.
I'm trying to check my way out of it. Fighting stuff comes. You can only ask so many guys. When you have one goal in 15 games, no one's going to fight you. I'd do the same thing if I was on the other side. So, that is whatever. And you want to do that. You want to give your team a spark. But at the end of the day, who wants to fight a guy who has one goal in 15 games? I wouldn't.
Okay, so that's Trent Frederick, our Weiss Johnson soundbox. Brownie, Zoobs, this is my 2 cents. It is hard to get a fight.
Yep.
Towards the end of my career, and this is a number of years ago, there weren't a lot of people out there that wanted to fight, and the game has changed dramatically from then. There are very few guys that are looking around. They're just dying for you to drop your gloves so they can try to give you a beating. All that being said, you can still play angry. Playing angry, taking a run at someone, slashing someone, getting in a scrum. There's no one to be scared of. Who on Colorado are you scared of? The toughest guy is Manson. Pretty tough. But he's not Dave Semenko floating around at center, just begging someone to start something. So you can play angry and show some emotion. And up to this point in this season, we've seen very little emotion from this team, whether it's been reacting to someone else or instigating it. I don't think the Oilers, do they have a fight? I don't even think they actually even have a fight yet this year.
I don't think so.
And it'd be nice that the Oilers would do something where someone would react to what they're doing. This team has played very vanilla up to this point. Now, keep in mind, they didn't have Kane all last year, so I don't want to hear about that. But they had a guy named Corey Perry, who was and is still annoying to many opponents in this league. So I think that what you need to do is step outside your comfort zone. Don't just accept it's okay. This isn't me. No, it's you got to get out of your comfort zone and make it uncomfortable for the other team in the way you played and bring emotion to it, Brownie.
I agree. Now, I understand what Frederick's saying, and there's Colorado, there's not a single guy on the Colorado Avalanche that is going to take a fight from Frederick. They're not. So the only thing he can do is force a fight. Pump your goalie. Go in there, right. Hammer somebody. Do, as you say, more or less play angry. Force them to do something. Because if he goes around asking, of course they're not going to fight him. A, you don't want to give the Oilers any life. B, why do you want to fight? Like, your team's winning. And again, C, the third thing, there's only one guy really on the Avalanche that can fight, and that would be Manson. And you know as well as I do, when you are in a game like that, you want to play. You don't want to fight because you might get a goal. You might get an assist. You might get a couple
get
pluses.
A plus.
So you're going to take advantage. Yeah, you're going to take advantage of every moment you can be on the ice. So you have the gamesmanship. And gamesmanship doesn't mean going, hey, excuse me, will you fight me? Gamesmanship is going into a scrum and knocking everyone over. taking a penalty that way. The game was over. It is a different game from when you and I played. A game like that, there would have been 5 or 6 fights when we played, and probably at least 1 5-minute major. It's not like that anymore, and that's better for the game of hockey. But there was zero anger, and has been zero anger this year through 16 games for a team that had Stanley Cup aspirations and is 500, but really 6-10 on the season. So yeah, it was a little surprising, and I know that now there's being questions asked to the players. I know that on our phone line with Chad, we got a bunch of questions asking about it. They missed the gamesmanship of Corey Perry, who would not have. Well, he would have gotten to this game. Corey Perry would have used gamesmanship probably about 7-8 games ago.
Zuby, your thoughts?
Good comment here on the stream. Ryan Smith's nose says, sounds like a guy that has zero confidence. I appreciate the honesty of those comments from Trent Frederick. It's a different perspective. I was kind of surprised to hear him say that. I'd want to hear from you guys. What's your feelings about what he said, about his candor, the honesty? How would that play in the room, or does it not really matter? What do you think about where this player's at in his head right now, Struddy?
I didn't actually like the comments. He's not here to be a massive goal scorer. Is he going to get 10 goals? Yeah, I think he can and probably should get 10, but it still doesn't mean you can't do the other things. And you force people, like you lean on people. And he has been a lot more physical lately. That's for sure. There's no doubt about it. But his role on this team has just consistently gone down. Top line winger, third line center, third line winger, at times fourth line winger. Like he keeps dropping down the lineup. And the coach is looking for something from him. He's got to find a way to lean on people, drive the net, get in front of everyone all the time, get in front of the other team's goalie and just create some kind of emotion within yourself, or find a guy. And I do this sometimes. I'm going to make this guy have a brutal day today and just create a shit storm for no reason. And you're like, why are you coming after me? Like, I'm having a bad day, buddy. So are you.
Well, it's true, Strud. It is, but it does. That sounded like a deflated hockey player, that interview. And I understand you just lost 9-1, but that doesn't sound like I'm deflated because we lost 9-1. That sounds like I am down on myself by the way this season has gone. I signed this big contract. I'm starting the season playing with Connor and Leon. This is going to be the greatest year of my life. 16 games later, I've got 1 goal. I'm getting 10 minutes of ice a night, sometimes less. I've got no fight. This is not the way it was supposed to be. So that sounded, as you just said, a guy lacking confidence in his game, which the Oilers lost some loud players. Kane, Perry, loud players. Frederick is supposed to be their new loud player, and he has been very, very quiet. And that is tough for this Oiler team because they are more or less a quiet team.
All right. Keep a lot of comments about that. We'll get to Ask Us Anything a little bit later, and about that, about the goalies, about the defensive play. The 3 highlights are the goaltending, the defensive play, and the lack of physicality. So let's now get to what they can do moving forward. Some core adjustments, Subi, brought to you by HSE Core Services.
From creating and managing safety programs to audits and those required contractor registries, HSE Core keeps your business compliant so you can keep working. Visit www.hsecore, that's HSECOR.com for more info.
All right, so let's set the table here. What they dropped, on the road they dropped 3 points. They should have come home with 4. They had 2 goal leads. Tonight, they weren't coming out with anything, but they didn't bring their best. They're coming off what I'm guessing was a rookie party in Dallas. They have Columbus on Monday at home, and then they're out again for 7 more games. They have a practice tomorrow. I think they needed more practice time. I get you're having the rookie party, but and you got to get it in there. But I think that compromised some of their ability to have some practice time and get on the same page. So have a practice tomorrow. You're not going to practice for 2 hours. I know people say they should be practicing all the time. I get it. But in reality, you got to manage their legs. But I think it'll be specific to what they need. Maybe some defensive work in their own zone, guys. The big guys started together. Leon and Connor were up against Nathan McKinnon's line, and I'm not sure the results were where they needed to be. So looking ahead for core adjustments against Columbus, a team that's doing okay. Brownie, would you keep the big guys together, Connor and Leon, heading into Columbus, heading to play against Columbus Monday at home?
No, I wouldn't for a couple of reasons. One, Connor and Leon have not had success this year together. We're 16 games into the year, and they have not created the offense that we usually get out of them. And when you put them together, you really, really weaken what you have in lines 2, 3, and 4. This has not been a good 5-on-5 team all season long. I think one of the problems, and Chris Knobloch is a very good coach, and he has had a ton of success. But if there was a criticism or a critique from this year, it's not giving lines stretches to find chemistry, find how they can play together. I think you have to do that. We're going to get Hyman back right away. And when they get back, Connor and Leon separate lines. You make a first line, a second line, a second line, and then you have a fourth line that has a little bit of energy on it. And let them run with it. This is, again, this team looks, as Connor and Leon both have said, disconnected. And I think a lot of it is they are not playing with guys long enough. There's a lot of turnover from last year, and guys really can't read off of each other. So no, I wouldn't play them together, and I would roll 4 lines and just continue to do that and see if you can find some chemistry going forward.
Zoobs, split them or keep them together. Columbus is, they're doing not great, but they're still the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's not like the Oilers are tearing the league up in half.
Yeah, I'm with Brownie on this one. I think you split them up. Do you think the reason there's a couple things about tonight? I'll put it back to you guys. One, do you think they put them together just to try and go strength on strength with the Avs top line? And two, why do you think they kept with, when the other lines had been yielding decent results, better than what they were showing tonight? Why do you think they stuck with it? It seemed like an odd for the team that loves to go with the lines in the blender. They really stuck with it throughout this whole game too, Struddy.
Yeah, they did, and I'll give you my 2 cents. I would have put them together tonight because that's a really good line. Like that Nathan McKinnon line is a beast. Now at the end of the game, you could have done anything. You could have put the 3 of us online. It didn't matter. But now looking at Columbus, I do split them up. It sounds like Janmark's coming back pretty quick, as is Hyman, and that'll change a lot in this lineup. That'll be 2 players that are really trusted by the head coach, and it'll just help thicken the broth in this lineup a little bit. So I think we'll see them back together. We'll see them split up, but Hyman and Connor McDavid back together moving forward. So, they got to get going here. It's not like we haven't seen this record played before, but it is getting pretty deep here. We're a pretty good chunk, 15 games in the year, and you're wondering when things are going to start heating up. It just hasn't quite got there yet. Okay, let's take a quick pause here on the show. When we come back, we'll get into Brownie Points and Struddy's World next after the Oilers lose 9-1 at home on a Saturday night to the mighty Avs.
Choosing to buy a home is one of the biggest financial and personal decisions you'll ever make. It's a decision that requires strategic planning, market expertise, and a trusted advisor to guide the way. The team at Body Realty with Royal LePage AR team combines deep market knowledge, forward-thinking guidance, and exceptional dedication to make the process effortless and stress-free. Where every client is treated like the only client, visit BaddyRealty.com, a real estate group like no other.
Why would you? Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why put in wood fences? Maintenance-free vinyl fence from DLR is backed by a lifetime warranty and will save you time. Weekends are for playing, not painting. Go vinyl at DLRvinylproducts.ca.
Yeah, obviously that's not where.
All right, everybody, let's try to lighten up the mood a little bit with our good buddy Brownie for Brownie Points, Zoobs.
Oh, Brownie Points is brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. Get 10 years of built-in confidence at your Alberta Ram dealer with Canada's best full-size truck limited powertrain warranty. Every new 2026 Ram truck comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. See your Ram dealer today for details. Brownie.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to really lighten up the mood in a 9-1 loss. There's going to be more taken away than there is given, but we're going to start first. I am going to give 520 brownie points to the Colorado Avalanche bottom six and their third pairing defensemen. That group of players had 5 goals in the game and was plus 20. The third and fourth line and third pairing of defensemen had 5 goals and were plus 20. The third pairing defenseman, Malinsky, and this Aves, who I've never heard of before today, I think he's only had 13 games, they were both plus 4 in this hockey game. The Avs stars were better than the Oilers stars. The Avs role players were much better than the Oilers role players. I've got -6 to the Oilers' third period, as they were outshot by 6, 14-8, and outscored 3-0. Usually in blowouts, there's a thing called shot effect. And that's when the team that is winning calls off the dogs. The team that is losing plays with a little bit of pride, and usually the losing team will outshoot you 15-5, and the score will be 2-1. That didn't happen tonight. The Avs came out in the third period. They outshot the Oilers by 6 and outscored them 3-0. In a game where it was over after 40, the Avs kept playing. The Edmonton Oilers did not. I've gotten taken away 6 brownie points from the Oilers superstars Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. In a game that featured the 4 best players in the world, Connor and Leon, Makar and McKinnon, and having those 4 best players go head-to-head, both coaches wanted it. McDavid and Leon Draisaitl finished the game with 1 goal and were -6, while the 2 superstars for the Colorado Avalanche scored 4 goals and were +7. There's a big reason right there that the Edmonton Oilers lost this hockey game. I'm taking away 28 brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers coaching staff. In a game that was 9-1 and was over after 40 minutes when it was 6-1, in the third period, they still had their top power play unit out there. That was after giving up a shorthanded goal in the second period. And this is what really boggles my mind. In a 9-1 hockey game that was over after 40 minutes, Evan Bouchard still played 28 minutes in this hockey game. It's been a tough start of the year for Bouchard, and this loss certainly was not on Evan Bouchard. But he played 28 minutes in a game that he was -3, and this game was over after 40 minutes. I was shocked by that number. And finally, I've taken away 15 brownie points, 2 Oilers that took long-term contracts this year. Frederick signed for 8 years. So far this season, he has 1 point and 6 penalty minutes. And in a season where the Oilers have lacked emotion and intensity on many nights, Frederick was supposed to bring what Kane and Perry did. That has not happened. Tonight, in a game they lose 9-1, he was -2 and had 1 hit. And Jake Wallman signed for 7 years. And he is supposed to be a top 4 defenseman that gives them a veteran presence. Today, he got moved down into the third pairing. He's continuing to make big mistakes that he cannot make. And in the third period, with the team down 6-1, 25 seconds into the period, he pinches. With Nate McKinnon on the ice behind him, gives up the 7th goal. Then later in the game, takes a penalty, takes a second selfish penalty, arguing with the referee. They need more from this veteran player. And that tonight are my brownie points.
You're right, Brownie. Those weren't positive. I apologize to all the listeners. I was completely wrong about it. But they're all accurate. Like everything every time, every note you rang was right on. It was very little going positive other than the penalty kill. But maybe that's more attributed to where the Avs are power play wise and the Oilers are penalty kill wise as Zuby.
Well, hopefully Shager isn't listening tonight, because with you calling in all those brownie points, stuff in your pockets there, Brownie, he's going to expect some of those coming back his way for sure.
All right. We will lighten up the mood now as we move into a little segment that the people want to call Struddy's World. So, be brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Yes. Struddy's World is brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Why would you? Now featuring Vecadec and Wolf Serenity, pure PVC core boards resistant to water, mold, and insects. With a natural wood grain finish protected by UV inhibitors, your deck stays looking new without the sanding and staining of wood. In stock now at both Edmonton and Calgary locations, or visit www.dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struddy, please give us something to smile about.
Yeah, I can't. It's not going to be one of my my really lighthearted
no.
ones, but it's a pretty amazing Hall of Fame class this year that's going to be inducted here really quickly. And I had the opportunity to interact with a couple of them. Zdeno Chara, Alexander McGillney were teammates, and then played against, I guess Duncan Keith's out of camp that I was at. But these are kind of my peers, my age group of my peers. Maybe they were a little bit better players. That's TBD in the long run. But I'm going to kind of share a little bit of story about these guys. And we'll start with Duncan Keith. So Duncan Keith was, when I was with the Blackhawks, he had been drafted. I think he was a second or third rounder. And he came in, and I remember not that I was a big guy talking to scouts, but he said, Struddy, I want you to watch this guy in training camp and tell me what you think. I'm like, yeah. So he came in. I knew he was from the West, so obviously I was rooted for those guys. He was so skinny. He looked like a greyhound dog. He was so skinny. And all I remember of him was carrying around this huge jug of protein powder. And everywhere he went, Duncan Keith was carrying this jug of protein powder. So finally I go up to him like, hey, Duncan, I'm Jason, whatever. What are you doing? He's like, got to put it on the weight, big guy. Got to put it on the weight. And so all the time he'd have the protein powder and do it. And then, you kind of read about all the different things he did. And he was kind of a different thinker, right? He was a different guy. And different doesn't mean bad. It was just different. He always thought outside the box and always looked at different ways to kind of prepare himself. But as a player, he was an absolute horse, an absolute stud. And his partner, Brent Seabrook, was also one. The two of them anchored arguably, quite possibly, the best pairing of their whole generation, those two guys together. And Seabrook did it different than Duncan Keith, but Duncan was an absolute animal. The way he could play forever. He would cheap shot you. He'd make great plays. He could do whatever, play any style you wanted. But I remember this skinny little guy that was there. This is, his first year after being drafted. But boys, there's no denying his talent, his leadership, and what that duo, he and Seabrook, meant to the Hawks in their Stanley Cup championships.
Yeah, that's good, Chad. I was looking at the guys that are going in this year. I remember when I was playing in Pittsburgh and Zdeno Chara came in. I remember working out in the summer at U of A and seeing him in there. And he wasn't just tall, he was massive, massive man, muscles. It was I'm like, I can't believe this guy's in the league. But I remember we were playing in Pittsburgh one night when he was with the Islanders, and I made a goal. I am going to knock him down. I ran at him 22 times. 22 times I fell down. And I think 18 of the times he didn't even notice that I'd hit him. He was fantastic at just about everything. And he could score, he could fight. He was great defensively, but he might have been physically one of the strongest players I'd ever played against. He was a freak of nature. And then the other guy, Joe Thornton, his rookie season, we were playing in Boston last game of the year, and they said in the paper that if he got 2 points in the game, he got this crazy, I think it was $1 million bonus. Game meant nothing to our team. And I remember Matthew Barnaby played against him all night long. And before each face-off said, you've got 3 seconds. I will not check you for 3 seconds. I will give you a head start, hoping that he would get 2 points. And he did, because the Boston Bruins then were notoriously cheap. And Joe Thornton got 2 points in that game and got his great big bonus. And we all on the bench were all cheering when he got his second point.
I was frozen there for a minute. Did you guys throw to me?
No, what?
No, did we lose? Did we lose Brownie? We
Oh,
got him?
maybe we lost Brownie.
No,
That
I'm
was all.
still here.
Still here.
Okay,
It's just,
okay,
it's
no,
just everyone got
I'm here,
really
aren't I?
quiet. You left everyone speechless, Brownie.
Yeah, no, I no. Listen, and those are great. I will get to some more as we go through. Because I played with Z as well, Big Z, and we'll get to some more of those as we go through the week. But it is an incredibly deep and talented class. They always are. I'm really, really happy to see Al McGillney get in there. All right, that was the Struddy's World. Brownie, that's it for you, buddy. Cut yourself loose. I think you had to do a lot of damage control for trying to teach all the fans, both here and at Ched, what was going on with the group.
Yeah, we are. I think we're going to go to bed, and then we're going to hope that the sun comes out tomorrow and pretend that this was just a dream. It was just a bad dream. And hopefully, Monday will be a much better night for other fans.
All right, rest up, buddy. We'll talk to you Monday night.
Sounds good.
All right, let's move on now to a scoreboard to get up caught up with a bunch of games here in the NHL tonight. 13 games to be exact, Zuby.
Yeah, the scoreboard tonight is brought to you by The Bridge Fit. They want to remind you most private health benefits reset at the end of the year. If you've been putting off treatment, now's the time to book and make the most of your coverage before it renews in 2026. Year-end availability is filling up fast across all locations, so don't wait. With clinics in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Lethbridge, and St. Albert, The Bridge provides accessible, team-based care across Alberta. Learn more at thebridge.fit. They do amazing things for golf groin, as we've well documented here on this show. If I was closer, I'd be going in to get my bum shoulder looked at. I'm having a brutal time with I had messed up my rotator cuff snowboarding literally over 20 years ago. I played hockey 2 Fridays ago. Nothing bad happened in the game. I woke up and it's like the day after I first injured it. So I'm struggling here.
I shouldn't be laughing, but injuries are funny, I think, especially when they're not life-threatening.
No, not at all.
Especially when they're self-inflicted. All right, let's get to some scores here. We'll start with the Maple Leafs and the Bruins. An age-old battle, and the Maple Leafs came up short, 5-3. They started out well. Nicky Robertson got off to a really good start with his 4th goal. Morgan Geekie, 11th goal, got him the Bruins on the board. But in the end, it was just too much. Fraser Minton scored against the team that he was drafted by. So the Leafs lose 5-3 to the Bruins, and now there's talk about some goaltending issues there as Hildeby and Stolars played for the Leafs, and they weren't great from what I could see in the game. The Blues, they lose also in 4-3 to the Kraken. Kyrou comes back in and scores one, but it wasn't enough to make it happen. The Hurricanes take down the Sabres 6-3. In that game, Aho got on the board. The Rangers at home are a mess. Pretty good on the road. At home, though, they're absolute disaster. Bo Horvat started it out with a 5-0 win. Bo Horvat got his 10th and 11th goal of the year. Just a disaster at home for them. And then the Canucks at home tonight, they beat the Blue Jackets 4-3. The Blue Jackets will be in town to take on the Oilers on Monday night. And finally, the Ducks win in overtime over the Golden Knights 4-3. That team is really trending in the right direction. Leo Carlson was a beast in this one, scored 2 goals, played over 21 minutes. He's a really good center. Then he got McTavish behind him. There's a lot of good things in Anaheim, and that's not good news if you're the Edmonton Oilers, along with a number 1 D in Jackson Lacombe and a very good young netminder. Oops.
Struddy, which of these, let's say 3 young teams really making a big push this year? Let's say Montreal and Anaheim for sure, and also Utah. They're coming back to earth a little bit. Who do you think it's the most sustainable for?
Yeah, I should mention Utah did lose tonight. They've lost 2 in a row now. I like the Anaheim Ducks. I really do. I really think that I like their D, and I like Montreal and Utah, but I would probably take the Anaheim Ducks. A little bit bigger team. I'm worried about Montreal right now, the way they're built. Some of their stars are a little bit undersized. Slavkovsky's a big guy, but Cole Caulfield's pretty slight. Suzuki is big enough. Demidov's not a big guy, but he's going to be a star in this league. So all 3, I think, we're going to be talking about for the next 5 to 10 years because of this youth they have in this lineup. And good for them. Those fan bases have paid their price, waiting for them to come up and turn it up bases again.
And I don't think the Sharks it's still going to come around for, like, they're not that far. They have a 500 start going, which I'm sure they've got to be pleased about that compared to how the last couple of years have gone, but they're exciting and their young guys are really starting. People are sitting up and taking notice of the way these guys can score and move the puck.
Well, they sure are. I mean, so you look at Celebrini and Connor Bedard either at or near the top of the leaderboard for points in the NHL. So, Smith and Celebrini in San Jose, they're going to get themselves going and bring themselves along. The young Misa, probably not his year, but he'll find his way. Chicago seems to have found a bit more winning ways. They're still not finished, but those two teams, it's going to turn over here. It's going to turn over here, and got to be careful if you're a team who's currently at the top, because it won't last forever. Okay, let's take a quick pause on the show here. When we come back, we'll get into Take a Lap, Ask Us Anything, and Play of the Day. I can't wait to field these questions, so get them in there. If you're on there, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. Zuby will give you a hug personally. Come to his house, he'll hug you if you subscribe in the next hour. Let's take a quick break, take a lap when we get back.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that just leads to better living.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
Some say this is my greatest creation.
I'd put your kids slightly above it, but this is really good.
The more of the people on this stream, really.
All right, let's get into it now. Let's take a lap, Zuby, brought to you by our good buddies at Riverside Motorsports.
Family owned and operated, serving Edmonton and area for over 55 years. They feature top brands like Yamaha, Suzuki, Polaris, Husqvarna, and Gas, delivering the best selection in Alberta, a massive inventory of parts and accessories, and recognized as the #1 KTM dealership in the country. Check them out at www.riversidemotorsports.com or stop in on at their store just off St. Albert Trail.
Okay, let's take a lap around the league here. We'll start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, David Kampf. Now, he's been slowly working his way out of the lineup since arriving. They signed a 4-year contract at the Leafs. He has been put on waivers, and then he was sent down to the AHL team, and he's there now until he left. And he recently left the team, so he's been suspended. That means suspended without pay. So Elliot Freeman was talking a little bit about it, saying that one of the challenges to doing anything with this, maybe even terminating the contract, is that he has to figure out what he wants to do, but there's a signing bonus. Right. So because he's gotten some of his signing bonus, would he have to return some of that to the Leafs? And then who would negotiate that? Because it's a bit of a unique situation. So listen, it hasn't gone as well as he'd hoped there in Chicago, or from Toronto after leaving Chicago. But that whole idea of returning money to a team, and then how much, and then who's going to arbitrate this is really interesting. I don't think that the player or the team will want to move on until they know exactly what that looks like. So Kampf could be left out in the cold for a little while longer while this is worked through.
The part that surprises me about it is that this isn't this isn't a possibility.
Yeah.
In a contract, for how in depth I'm sure those contracts are, that there's not some sort of repayment on, discussion about repayment on a signing bonus if the player, in their opinion, is not honoring the contract.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, because it is a big deal and it could set a precedent moving forward. Next up, goalie Caden Primo was cleaned off waivers from the Leafs to the Canes. The Canes, we know that their goaltenders do have injury issues over the course of the year. They're bringing Primo over. Now, it's not like the Leafs goalies are killing it, but Joseph Wall is another goalie they have. They're going to bring him back, so they lose some depth. But the Canes always seem to find a way to pick up a spare part or two over the course of the year. And, Caden Primo, once thought of pretty highly by Montreal Canadiens and coming to Toronto, is now a member of the Canes.
Yeah, I guess I understand. I mean, I don't think this is much more than a depth move. It seems to me like
Right.
this is the bigger story here, is that you would think, even though the Leafs called somebody else up, that this must indicate that Joe Woll is close. I heard them talking about that he's looking at a sort of an extended conditioning stint with the Marlies. Is that right?
Well, yeah, he missed a lot of time. He didn't have any training camp, right? And I think that for all the positions, I think goalies need that training camp to get their timing back. You can't hide. It's not like you're a left winger and you can hide for 5 games while you're finding your timing. You're the last line. The buck stops with you. So you need to feel, and the goalie coach needs to feel you are dialed in. Otherwise, the team will suffer. And it's not like the Leafs are, just raging through the league right now. So I think that makes sense. But in the meantime, Stolarz, who's been, at times outspoken about his feelings of the play of his teammates, isn't exactly killing it either. So I wonder if that speeds up the return time for Joey Woll.
Yeah, you know what? The thing with Stolarz, I think I like him. I think he's good. I don't know if he's a true number 1 starting goalie in this league. But based on his experience, especially he's shown it in spurts, but based on his total number experience. But I wonder, Struds, if man, after you speak up the way that he did, man, do you want to back it up? And this, it's not the same thing, but I'll even, if I say at the bench at my game, come on, guys, pick it up. Oh, we just got to watch this one guy, whatever. And you kind of lay out a few things, then you go back and then you let a muffin in the first shot in the third period. It's just like, it kills you that you want to fire shots, and then you're not holding up your end of the bargain.
Well, he's never been a massive starter, right? Last year he played 34 games for the Leafs. It's not like he played 65, right? So you got to be careful. Understand where you are. He won a Stanley Cup in Florida as a backup, and that's great. I would have done anything. I would have shaved off the rest of my hair to get a Stanley Cup, but you are not the man. This isn't Roberto Luongo. This isn't Carey Price challenging their teammates.
Yeah.
Right? This is a guy who has historically been a backup and not played a lot of games in each year. So kind of interesting. Now, Zuby, you want to get to one out of St. Louis?
Or do we want to do that and ask?
Yeah, let's do it right here. Yeah. Let's do it right here. Yeah.
So because we've talked so much, Struds, about people, especially on the stream, calling for the benching, or that is to say the healthy scratching of Evan Bouchard. And when we talked about it a number of times, we sort of said, gosh, I can't even remember the last time a real star player was plucked and said, you sit down. Well, the St. Louis Blues just did it. Not this game. He returned tonight. There was a game earlier in the week that they took Jordan Kyrou, who is tied for their highest paid player, so at $8.5 million. So he is their highest paid player. He is undeniably a star on that team, and he was sat down, benched for a game by his coach. And the return was that he came back and scored a goal tonight. They ultimately lost that game, but it does happen. And do you think this will lead to it happening more, or is this still just that outlier scenario, Struddy?
It's a bold move. There's no doubt it's a bold move. Jordan has struggled this year putting up points. Hasn't been ideal. Now, some would say he's had bad luck, but still at the end of the day, the points aren't there. I know people are screaming into the stream, the Oilers need to bench some of their top players, and specifically Evan Bouchard. I hear you, and we understand what you're saying, but was Evan the real root cause of it tonight? No, I think there are other players that had more struggles than him, and the whole group as a whole. So how do you hold one player accountable? Yeah, he's had some bad nights over others who have also had bad nights, like tonight with Jake Wellman, had a tough night tonight. And then some of the reads by the forwards, like it's just a collective mishap. So it's a long way of saying I think it's unlikely you'll see more top players benched. I don't think it's historically something they do. Healthy scratched. It's very, very, very unlikely we'll see more
Right.
of it because you don't want to risk losing those top players, and it's embarrassing for them. You think back to last year with Sean Couturier being scratched by his then head coach, John Tortorella,
Right.
and he doesn't care. He does what he thinks best for the team, but I wonder if that's when they lost the team. So, we'll see what happens, but I think it's unlikely we'll see more star players because A, they're being paid so much, and B, there's got to be other ways to try to get to those guys rather than healthy scratching them. Okay, that's it for taking a lap. Let's
Aaron
work
St.
in
Pierre said
all
on the
your
stream,
questions now.
I don't think we can bench one player. Can we bench them all?
Dissected a 9-1 loss.
And,
Oilers, my
Yeah. Struddy wasn't hearing Zuby there, but yeah. Go back to your comment there, Zuby.
Oh, I just said Aaron St. Pierre said, I don't think we can bench one player. Can we bench them all? And after tonight, yes, there's no one person who stood out as needing that tonight.
So you look at we've said it's yes, some goaltending, it's defensive play that have been issues, and the lack of pushback physically. We want to hear from you. So let's get to Ask Us Anything now, brought to you by our good buddies at BJ Electric Supply. Zoobs.
Yeah, founded in 1976, BJ Electric Supplies is a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca. Steve-O, they're chatting. They're chatting. What do we got? I haven't even been. I like to try to follow along. You're going to surprise me even with these questions tonight because it's been fast and furious, and I haven't. I don't know what's coming.
It has been. There's been a lot of chatter for obvious reasons in a lot of different directions. But first off, let's just close the poll, just so I don't forget to.
Good point. Yeah,
thanks. So again, the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll was: what is it going to take to spark this team? The 4 options that we gave were, let's start at the top. The most popular option was GM makes a trade at 35%. No real surprise. That's what the stream wants. Zach Hyman's return, second place at 31%. And then a star player getting scratched was actually third at 19%. And then someone starts a fight. 15% of respondents really want somebody to start a fight. So, yeah. Good participation.
I'm a little bit surprised by that, to be honest. I thought 1 and 3 would be flipped. I didn't think, to me, making a trade for trade's sake. I mean, maybe the folks have something in mind, but
I feel like fans are just throwing their hands in the air and saying this is ridiculous. What's going on? Now let's just make a trade. If that's what we need to do, that's all we can do at this point. I will segue this into a question on the stream about Hyman, and a few people came with something similar to what Davin said here, which is people were talking about Hyman's impact when he returns. Davin said, I've seen Hyman play pretty flat when the team plays pretty flat, so I'm actually not expecting that much from Hyman. What do you think about that, Struddy? Are we expecting too much of the guy?
Okay, so let's assume that he does come back and he's flat. But what can he provide stability-wise to the other lines? Because now you're pushing down Nuge or Mangiapane down to the second line, then you're pushing someone down to the third line, you're pushing someone to the fourth line, and pushing someone right out of the lineup. And when Janmark comes back, it's 2 guys. So you're adding players that have had significant success with this team. The coach knows them, trusts them, knows how to play them, and stability is brought to lineup. So, yeah, let's say he is flat, which could be, but it'll stabilize a lot of other lines and reinforce other lines, which I think is something that, Brownie and I have talked about along with Shoggy up to this point.
Just the one comment I'll make on that topic is we saw Zach Hyman was the one guy who really, when the playoffs started last year, his game changed. He stepped up the physicality. That's what people want. He did that to a different level as soon as it was game 1 of the playoffs. So I do wonder, I don't think we can expect playoff Zach to step right in here in game 1 of this return. And clearly there was a there was 2 different guys there between the regular season and postseason. So I do think maybe we have to temper our expectations of what he's going to bring.
Paulie looking for a peek behind the curtain and says, ask us anything. What is being said in the room after a loss like this from this year's coaching staff? Does Knobloch even address the group, or does he wait until the dust settles? Struddy, you've played for a bunch of different coaches, and I know we can't make assumptions here, but what do you think happens in the room after a game like this?
You know, I feel like after a game like this, I would think it's the players that had to say something. You know, it doesn't mean that a players only meeting, and everyone loves the players only meeting. I think they're a bit overhyped. I've been in some, and I don't know how much is really accomplished, but I think the players just after the game, guys, like, this isn't good enough. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we got to take a hard look at it. So let's come back, have a good practice tomorrow, get ourselves going, because did the coaches need to come in? Now, if the coaches are coming in with solutions, you're all ears. But to try to motivate you again, like, I don't need them to motivate me right now. We're really struggling. You get called up by a teammate, and that is much, much stronger than the coach. And it does matter when the coach gives it to you, but when a teammate, that's hard. That's a really hard one.
Kayla with a comment that made me laugh. Call back from a show from a couple of shows ago. This Oilers team is like saltless taco seasoning.
Yeah,
Hyman and Janmark will add some flavor. But
just to go on that, Kayla, the individuals have to step out of their comfort zone and lean on people, make it hard. And like, being hard to play against doesn't mean you have to slash people in the back or fight, but you can be hard to play against by the way you attacked other teams, you know, blue line, the way you attack them in the corner, the way you take it to the net, all those types of areas. And I don't think we really see a lot of that, or even defend hard, defend stoutly in front of your own net. Like, these are all options on the table, and none of them include dropping the flippers.
I'll just agree with Kayla simply that this team doesn't taste right.
Right. Yeah. Hey, good point. Something's off with the recipe, and we need to figure out what it is. I like that. Let's bring it back to the food analogies. Okay, off the post and in says, ask us anything. The fact that Perry, Arvidsson, Skinner, and Brown are all having great starts to their seasons with other teams, is that a problem with the Oilers coaches? All secondary scoring comes here to die. Thoughts on that, Struds?
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair. I mean, Perry, you know, he had I'd say he had success here. You know what I mean? I think Connor Brown had some success here as well. Clearly Arvidsson didn't, and Skinner was, you know, middling. Now there's more opportunity in San Jose and Boston, arguably, for those two players than there were here in Edmonton because of the way it was working out. But I think you got to be careful. Like, Perry was really good here, really good. And I think Connor Brown was good as well. So I wouldn't say I agree with that notion.
I like what Struddy. Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity, and ice time would factor into it. If you want to bring that back to coaching, I guess that's not an unreasonable thought. But yeah, I'll agree with Struds there for sure.
Neil Garrity, when we were talking about Duncan Keith, says the people that complain about Nurse icing the puck forgot that Duncan Keith exists. So a reference to Duncan Keith apparently icing the puck a lot. Struddy, I'm curious what your thoughts are on icing the puck in general when in trouble, obviously high up the glass and out, that turns into an icing call. You know, I mean, what's your philosophy there?
Plays. I think a D-man's job is to make play. Yeah, so you want to make plays. That's the biggest thing. You want to make sure you're getting pucks up to your forwards as much as possible, and they can go in transition. I always felt really bad when I iced the puck. Right now, a little bit different time now. Everyone stretches. Like, the forwards are gone, and you got to launch a 100-foot pass up the middle and try to get it to them. And there are times where you miss them, and it doesn't go well. But I didn't like it. Like, I don't know per 60 how many times I iced it, but I don't think it was very many. I was pretty good. Now, I didn't make a lot of passes, but it didn't. I was trying to, because you don't want to come back and have that. Like today, who was it that iced it? Was it Nuge that iced it? Yeah, Nuge iced it. Hit Nuge's foot and went in, and then it came back, and I think that led to the second goal where McKinnon won the puck back, and now, you know, Nuge's line should be able to take on the top line because they're a second line against the top line, but that icing led to all of a sudden a goal against because they put the other team had a mismatch, or they felt they were getting a perceived mismatch in that moment.
Right. Any thoughts, Zuby?
No, that's okay. That's Struddy's world. You can continue on.
Yeah, just a quick comment on Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook that I don't know if I've ever mentioned. I just think this is so cool. Last season, my son, played hockey U13 in Kelowna, and just by complete coincidence, Brent Seabrook, head coach of the West Kelowna team, Duncan Keith, head coach of the Penticton team. Both their sons were on those respective teams, so they actually coached against each other all season long last year. And I never, no one ever made a story of it or anything, but it's pretty cool. I think those guys were the longest serving defensive pair together in NHL history. So kind of cool. All right, Matt Blom, the Blominator, comes in and says, ask us anything. After a rough night like tonight, where you need to blow off some steam, what do you do to calm down? Subi, if you've had a rough day, a rough night, maybe things haven't gone your way and you have the rare ability to blow off steam, what is it that you like to do?
I don't know. This is probably going to be pretty boring. I guess you know what? Here, the fun answer would be that, I have done this. Come down here into the theater room. It's kind of semi-soundproof. I might close it up and bust out some one-man karaoke on my own.
Amazing.
I might go for it. A couple of songs.
That's amazing.
Just me here in the basement.
Struds, what about you? Anything when you blow off steam?
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of days where I really need to go and just, whack-a-mole to take the edge off. But when I was playing after a rough night like tonight, you take it home. You wear that. You can't help but carry it. And there'd be some sleepless, hours for sure until you're able to just, go to sleep. And I would make a point, not that I just, you don't want to have to turn to something crazy to get it off, but you do wear it home. That's an uncomfortable ride home for sure. And then you think about it and what are you going to do to make it better? And you're thinking about yourself and the team and the group, the coach, everything. So yeah, there's a lot of thinking that goes on after a night like tonight.
Okay, let's end it with one off the path a little bit. Directed at you, Struds. Ro Nelson says, Struddy, did you like fighting? You seem like such a fun, lighthearted guy, but you did always have bite. Did you do it as a job or not a natural inclination?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Yeah, good question, Ro. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't say I loved the fighting. I liked playing hard. I just felt that, whenever I meet people, the guys I played, I'm like, man, you always battled hard. It's not like they were saying you're the greatest player, and that's okay. I know where I fit into the scheme of things, but I wanted to be known as a guy who battled every single shift, every practice, everything. I always showed up. And then, sometimes I liked fighting when someone was getting picked on. I went out there and I just stood up for my teammates. So it wasn't I'm not the guy that's going down to the bar when I was 16 to fight someone. That was not my thing. And even now, I've never been in a fight off the ice in my whole life, but I got into a few on the ice. But so every now and then you miss that rush. When you see two guys drop the gloves at center, you're like, oh man, that's a rush. Now there's also the thrill of getting your ass kicked, which isn't a super lot of fun.
Less thrilling.
It's not as thrilling. But I do. There are times where I miss that rush because it's a very unique rush that I'll never feel again, ever.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully.
I want to just piggyback that for a second. When you met Shona, I should ask her this, but was she taken aback by who you were on the ice versus who you were off the ice? Did you guys ever talk about that?
Yeah, I think that, when you get into a relationship, people want to know what your mental stability is. And when someone sees you out there fighting, and I had a few, girlfriends that would be like, what are you violent? Are you going to be at home thrashing the house and tearing it apart? And they got to know me. They're like, actually, you're quite calm. I am pretty calm. And even now I'm pretty calm, but just, usually when you step on the ice, you have to take on a bit of a persona. At least I did. I had to be I never wanted to smile. I always wanted to look mean, I was ready just to snap at any moment and just to create a little space and make people kind of scared of coming down on me. And I'm not sure if it worked or not, but I played quite a while. So it must have been some success in that whole venue.
Absolutely was.
All right, well, let's wrap this up with the play of the day. And of course, Zuby had to make this about a goalie, that selfish bastard.
Yes, and the play of the day is brought to you by Mainline Water and Sewer, your trusted choice for over 40 years, specializing in sewer line replacement and expert water line repair and replacement. Slow drains are a sign it's time for attention, and aging lines can cause basement backups. You do not want those. Their trenchless method is quick, low impact, and often finished in a day, complete with backflow protection. Visit mainlinewaterandsewer.ca.
Yeah,
Do I
so
get
just well, just let me get it set up. So just midway through the third period, Zuby calls me and he's like, we're going over the show, and he's like, buddy, I got the play of the day. And I had a couple in mind. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's about a goalie. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So it's Zuby's time to shine. Let's all put our phones down and let Zuby tell us all about this amazing play by a goaltender.
Well, are we talking about the same one? Because this is a misplay.
Oh, yeah. Fair point.
Sort of a misplay, actually, is St. Louis Blues goalie Joel Hofer, or possibly Yoel Hofer. He tried to shoot for the empty net, take a shot at the empty net in a 1-goal game, and missed. And you know what that means? It was icing, and he just missed. And then the opponent, who I can't even think of right now, who were they playing? They scored in the final minute with the goalie pulled, and then they scored again to win it in overtime. So Joel Hofer and the guys were after he tried. It was the Kraken. It was Seattle came back after he had tried to score on the empty net, and the guys were laughing on the bench. They showed some cutaways of them. They end up losing the game. They got a point, but the icing ended up being a huge play for them.
Yeah, Shane Wright gets the overtime winner.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah. And
all
that
right,
was your not so play of the day.
Yeah, a selfish goalie. They're all selfish people.
Of the day. Yeah.
Never trust a forward, and all goalies are selfish. That's basically all I have for you for the rest of this show. Listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Shagar will be back on Monday. He was unavailable for tonight. Oilers lose 9-1. Let's hope this is the bottom. I think that there will be a major wake-up call when they get to practice tomorrow, and we'll see a different team as they hit the ice Monday against Columbus and head on the road. Any final thoughts, Zoop, before we head out?
No, like you said, I don't think it can be much worse than what we saw on the ice tonight. I was expecting I think they kept putting the camera on Connor and Leon towards the end of the game, looking to see the glove tap, to see if there was, if these guys were going to share another moment that might pull them out of the doldrums. But it was team-wide doldrums tonight. Actually, those guys were decent. They were, Connor was great, but very little to show for it.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, defensive zone struggles, goalie tennies were okay, not a lot of physical play. Then the top players for the Colorado outplayed the top players for the Oilers. Can't wait to see the next time they play. On behalf of myself, Zuby, Steve, and of course Roberto Brown, your buddy Shagar, we'll see you. Thank you for tuning in. Give us a like, subscribe. We'll see you Monday night post game for Columbus. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.